Welcome to the Confident Retirement Podcast. How confident are you when it comes to life's biggest money decisions? What is real financial peace and how can you get it? Kris Flammang and Mark Peachy are the founders of LPF Advisors in Sarasota, Florida. They bring together the brightest minds to show you how to have a more confident financial future. They empower listeners with common sense concepts and financial wisdom. And now, here are your hosts, LPF Advisors. Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the Confident Retirement Podcast brought to you by LPF Advisors. I'm your host here as always, Kris Flammang. And today I have the honor of hosting Mitchell Panter to the show. Their Miami-based injury firm has over 30 years of experience successfully getting the justice, recovery, and compensation that their clients deserve. Mitch, thanks for being here. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so you have kind of an interesting background. I was checking you out online on your website, not stalking you, but just, researching. So maybe walk us through just like a brief history of what led you to where you are today.
Well, born and raised in Jersey, grew up in Hollywood, Florida, went from Hollywood, Florida to Michigan, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, froze, decided to come back home, spent a year abroad. I was fortunate enough to go to Austria and lived in a real small little community where I traveled around. I think traveling is the root of learning, of education, of meeting people and places and things. Came back to Miami, went to the University of Miami Law School. Graduated, first year out, worked for a small firm doing a little bit of divorce, family law, personal injury, this and that. Then subsequently went for the first 5 years of real practice to what's called an insurance defense firm.
Okay.
Representing businesses and companies that were being sued. Mm-hmm. All across the state of Florida, whether it was an auto, whether it was a case involving trucks, whether it was premises liability, had a few cases with what's called Vibrio vulnificus and Vibrio parahemolyticus, which is oysters.
Okay.
The oysters got very sick, so we defended the restaurant and the guys supplying the oysters. Okay. Shortly after that, joined up with my brother. The firm was at the time Panter, Bushbaum and Panter. Bushbaum was doing mostly insurance defense, and my brother and partner Brett was doing a little bit of personal injury. Subsequently came on board, did some criminal defense because I had a little experience in that. Represented in the time DeBartolo and landlord tenants. Got my feet wet with some personal injury, and for the last 35, 36 years, I've been representing people, as we say, injured due to the negligence of others.
Okay. Yeah, I like how that's stated. All right. So maybe if you could go back in time and give the younger you some advice, what do you think that might be?
Do what you like to do. I've got two children and I work currently at Killian High School, which is our local high school. We provide scholarships. We do lectures, and I ask both my boys are lawyers, but totally distinct and different. My older son works in New York City in what's called big law. And subsequently, he now works for, they do managed money. So he's in-house counsel. My younger son does employment law. He represents people that are wrongly accused of things, wrongly fired, terminated, et cetera. And I frequently ask him, do you like what you're doing? I come here 8-10 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 if you're working hard. So you got to like what you do. That's the most important thing. I'm hoping you, Kris, like what you do. That's why you do it. You continue to do it. And we get the gray hairs doing it, but it's something that we enjoy. Law has got so many different fields and areas to go into. So it's wonderful from that. Like medicine, you could be a doctor, but there's so many different types of doctors, specialties and specialists. And law, you could do personal injury, you could do real estate, you can do probate, you can do, a variety, criminal, civil, a variety of different types. So the beauty of law school is you hopefully get a little pinch of everything and you learn to see, do I like family law? Do I like criminal law? Do I like constitutional law? And then once you get into the field, pick what you like and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully you've chosen wisely when you have those little tidbits and pick a certain path. I know some people have gotten into certain areas and they realize that they liked others.
Sure.
Yeah. And then you can course correct.
I've been fortunate. I mean, in law school, I did an internship at the state attorney's office. So I was prosecuting. As a result of that, once I got out, I did defense work. So I was representing people. I was appointed by the court in drug cases and in different types of cases. And the backgrounds of other side of the fence is really helpful. My first 5 years doing defense work enabled me to look and learn what the other side does. So the reporting, the billable hours, the information that you get what's called discovery. You learn all those sort of things. It helps you, and even now with the personal injury side of it, there's medical malpractice, there's products, there's premises, there's guardianship, a lot of different varieties within it. And you can pick and choose those areas of specialty that you like and focus on those while continuing to do everything else.
So how did you know then, or what was the point where you came to the conclusion, like, this is going to be the focus of our firm's main services on the types of people that we want to help?
So there's a vague legal term called conflict of interest, and it's hard to do both. So you can't do, we can do occasionally a defense case. So we have a family friend or somebody that's being sued and they have insurance. And even though the insurance company appoints a lawyer to represent them through the insurance policy, we get involved and help them defend the case. There comes a point in time when this is what we like to do. We do it well, and we continue to do it. And what used to be, you'd go to a family doctor and your family doctor would do everything from head to toe and everything. That time is gone. Now you go to a pulmonologist and an orthopedic, a neurologist and everything.
Yeah.
The same with lawyers. Generally speaking, the days of a general practitioner, I still know a few and they're okay, but they're okay in a bunch of things. If you get to where you specialize, whether it be medical malpractice, auto, premises, products, and we decided that that's the way we wanted to take our firm. So we got rid of the defense work. I got rid of the landlord-tenant work. We don't do criminal work. So, we do what we do and we do it well. And that's the area of practice that we work in.
Yeah, a specialty. So do you think there are some misconceptions that people have either about what you do or what you can accomplish for them that are kind of common?
Well, the advent of advertising has polluted and yet helped in the same way. So many years ago, we had an opportunity to meet John Morgan and Morgan and Morgan fame, and he educated us on what advertising is all about and helped guide us. And I'm forever grateful to him for that. But I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the biggest in the universe. I want to do what I do and do it well and do it in our community. We have one office. We've been in this office. We bought the building many years ago. We help people that are injured due to the negligence of others. People don't understand personal injury means contingency fee. So when you come to see me or people that work in my field, you don't pay us. We get a piece of the pie, governed by the rules of the Florida bar. It tells us what we're able to get, how we're able to get it, and all lawyers have to do that. We have a duty and obligation. It was funny, I was just filling out a survey this morning. The chief judge of our circuit court sent out a survey on professionalism, and she wanted to know what's the biggest beef and are people being professional. So 30 years ago, a handshake meant the deal was done. And it meant that was what, your word is your bond. And that was what it is. Now, not so much. And that's a real shame. And the biggest problem is communications. And that stems from the lawyer to the client and the lawyer to the lawyers and stuff. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on and we really emphasize a lot is communications. The client has the right to speak to. There's a written agreement that says you have the right to speak to the lawyer, not a paralegal, not a secretary, not a case manager, but me, Mitchell Panter. And we pride ourselves on that. There's not a day that goes by when I'm not speaking to clients, telling them about their case, educating them on the circumstances of their case, the goods, the bads, the indifference. So communication is the key word. And as a client, you should know you have the right to speak to your lawyer. And if your lawyer is not giving you that right, that's a problem. And you need to communicate that problem to the lawyer and let them know, hey, I have the right. It's in the contract I signed with you to speak to you. I'm not talking about being a pain in the neck, but every once in a while you should be able to talk to your lawyer and be advised as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And maybe for our audience, just assuming that they don't know in depth, maybe give us like a 30,000 foot definition of the steps commonly in an injury case.
Sure. So the first thing, and it's very important, and this is where we differ from other law firms. So a lot of law firms take in the case. They don't care. No matter what it is, you call a lawyer, I'm going to sign you up. I'm going to take your case. That's wrong. That's not appropriate. But that gives you the thousands and thousands of cases of being the biggest lawyer in the world. We do a good job on what's called intake. And what intake means is I want to find out a little bit about the case before I take it, before I obligate myself and obligate you, the client, to being my client, obligate me, the lawyer, to being your lawyer. There are certain factors, and any injury case, there are two main components. One is what's called liability or fault. Did somebody do something wrong? In a medical malpractice case, did they deviate from the standard of care? That's what medical malpractice means. Standard of care is par if you're a golfer, and everybody should be at par. And if you do above par, you get that birdie, you get that eagle, you're great. If you do below par, you get that bogey or double bogey. That's not good. That could potentially be medical malpractice. Same thing with an auto accident or a slip and fall. In a slip and fall case, the magic word is what's called notice. So did the facility where you sustained or the person where you sustained your injury have notice? And it's a two-part. It's either knew or should have known. So did they create the dangerous condition? Did they leave the box out? Did they stack the box inappropriately so that it fell down on you? Did they create the water on the floor? Or had it existed for a sufficient period of time, or was it big enough or red enough or yellow enough that they should have known about it? So that's the liability perspective. In an auto negligence case, did the other driver get a ticket? Did you stop suddenly and he hit you, and so maybe it's 50-50, or did he just smash into you and he's at fault? He run the red light or you run the red light. So that's number one is liability or fault. Next step is damages. Are you hurt? Did you sustain injuries? And a double component of that is there an avenue of recovery? So in other words, is there an insurance policy that's applicable? In Florida, we have what's called a no-fault insurance situation. What that means is that if you're injured in a car accident, your insurance pays your medical expenses and property damage for others, but the other person, the at-fault person, pays if they have bodily injury coverage. Now, not everybody does have bodily injury coverage. We know those companies that don't carry bodily injury coverage, and I can rattle them off to you, but don't want to pollute the file. But there are those companies that we know that are poor companies that aren't going to provide that kind of coverage. So I don't want that case because there's no coverage. I'm not going to be able to get you any money. You don't sue people, you sue insurance companies. And that's where you get the money. So, are you injured? Did you go to a doctor? Has it been a month? Has it been 3 months? Those are all factors that we look at before we take the case. And once we take the case, we sign you up, we get you on board, we get your records, your reports, your bills. We do what's called first pre-suit. So we try to resolve the case amicably. We communicate with the insurance company or the responsible parties. We gather your medical records, reports, and bills. We make sure you're treated correctly. You get a final report from a doctor. We send what's called a demand package, which includes liability, damages, all the information. We ask for money. We get money or we don't get money. If we get money, case closed, done and over with. We pay everybody off, you're done. If we don't get money, we file a lawsuit. Then you got litigation, and that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Okay. So when it gets to that point, which you're hoping that it doesn't, what then is probably the hardest part for clients to understand about how the courts work?
It takes time.
Okay.
So 2 minutes before you called, I was on the phone with another guy. But Mitch, my accident happened 2 years ago. I'm sorry. So we're still getting out of COVID. Yeah. We're still learning the judicial system post-COVID. We're doing this. This is my deposition. This is my hearings. This is my everything is this. And it takes time. I try to schedule a deposition of somebody and I'm available now. They're on summer vacation. They're not available till August, September. I had to amend my complaint because they blamed somebody else. It takes 3 weeks to do that and another 4 weeks to get a hearing, 5 weeks to get the order. So now it's, a year and a half later. We as plaintiffs push and especially us at Panter and Sampedro, push our cases as quickly as possible because I don't get paid. You don't get paid. You want the case done and over with. But the defense, much like we're hearing in politics now, delay, because it's to their benefit. So as much as we want to push the case, we're strapped and we can't. And that's difficult for clients to understand once litigation starts. But that's why we try to resolve cases without litigation, because you can get it done. It's over. But litigation is its own can of worms and takes time. And you got to be patient.
Yeah, right. With much longer process. So maybe along those lines too, how do you manage the client expectations and maybe their emotions while guiding them through this? Because this, it's almost like they're grieving in a way, right? This could be a big life change.
If it's a wrongful death case, they're grieving. If it's an arm loss, a limb loss, a constant waking up in pain. So that's critical part of intake. And on intake, you have to advise the client from get-go, because they call me and they say, Mitch, my prior lawyer told me I'm going to get $1 million. It's the greatest case. And my cousin's aunt's uncle's third brother got $57,000 and all he did was bump his knee. No. I'm going to tell you like it is right away. So first and foremost, what is the amount of coverage available? So for instance, if you're in an automobile accident case and the other driver's insurance policy is what's called a 1020, what that means is that there's $10,000 per person maximum, $20,000 per accident. So I had a case the other day that I resolved, and there was 13 children in a bus. I had one of the 13 children, and the most available is $20,000 divided by 13. So to try to explain to my client, hey, you're not going to get $100,000 for this case, even though your child is hurt. But I explain it from the beginning. Yeah. Let them know from the beginning. Another scenario is when you sue what's called a municipality, the city, the state, the county, a government entity. There's a cap. They have what's called limited sovereign immunity, which means that they're immune to a certain extent. So the most you could ever get from them is $200,000. So they could kill somebody. They could maim you. They could, take off the wrong leg. And most times the max is $200,000. There's an exception to that. It's called a claims bill, but it's a long, difficult process. But the general gist is that, you're slip and fall on a sidewalk case where you're suing the city, the state, the county. The cap is $200,000. So you have to let them know from the beginning, and then there's in an auto case, there's different kinds of coverages available. There's another kind called uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. And that means that you purchase yourself an extra insurance if the other driver or person at fault doesn't have coverage. So we try to find out all the available avenues of recovery, but it's important to temper everybody's expectations. We send out a demand package. And in the demand package, we ask for X dollars. And along with that goes a letter to our client that says, Dear so-and-so, enclosed is a copy of our demand package. Please note that although we have demanded X number of dollars, we do not actually anticipate receiving X number of dollars. You have sustained injuries, but not as egregious and serious as others might be led to believe. So, don't expect it. And then lo and behold, you get the call, you demanded 100,000, they've offered 6, but I thought I was getting 100,000. No, if you read my letter, you're not getting 100. We demanded 100 in hopes of getting 10, 15, 20. We demand higher numbers in hopes of getting a reasonable number, but you don't want to demand a stupid number. I mean, to demand $150,000 where there's $10,000 in insurance coverage is insulting, stupid, and just not the right thing to do.
Right. Yeah, they won't take you serious. Probably.
Correct.
Your
reputation in the community, in the legal community, is huge. Yeah. So as I said, we've been doing this 30 years. We tell the truth. We're honest. We take good cases. We don't misrepresent. And so we've developed a great reputation so that I'm able to get a call from opposing counsel and say, I know you guys are board certified, skilled, qualified, competent lawyers. You know how to try a case. I've told my adjuster that. So we're going to offer you X as compared to those that just take whatever it is because they can't afford to prosecute the case. And so that differentiates us.
Okay. So, you mentioned something about outcomes. So what are some common outcomes you see for clients? What I mean by that is, like you said, you've asked for money, but it's monetary awards. Is it benefits also, maybe, or continuation of benefits?
So I'll give you a great example. Okay. And this is where again, we distinguish ourselves from other lawyers because we care. And it really makes a difference. I had a case the other day that we settled for $250,000, $250,000. At the end of the day, the client was going to get $185,000, whatever the number was. They can get a lump sum check. Here's your $185,000 check. Go on your way, be happy and be merry. And that's that. Most of the times our clients are not sophisticated financially. And I know from fact, we had a case many years ago we settled. The client got a big check. He came in to see us and thank us. And he was in his brand new Camaro pulling his brand new boat. Right. 6 months later, he came to see us and he said, hey, can I revisit my case because my boat was foreclosed upon. My car was repossessed. I don't have any money left. And we was like, dude, so when I had this client the other day, we set up what's called an annuity or a structured settlement for those people. Now, I can't force them to do that, but I educate them on it and I try to educate them on it. So instead of getting $100,000 today, taking that money, and all personal injury recoveries are tax-free, so you don't pay taxes on it. But instead of taking the $100,000 today, what we can do is we can set it up with a company, a AAA rated insurance company, so the money's as safe can be. And what'll happen is in a year from now, you'll get $500 a month for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
In 5 years, you'll get a check for 20 grand. In 10 years, you get a check for 20 grand. In 30 years, you get a check for 50 grand. So I've taken your lump sum amount, like the lottery. When you win the lottery, you can either pick the money and take it all now on your own, or you can get it paid out over time. Yeah. So we try to do that with our less sophisticated people to assist them. There's also the future medical situations that need to be taken into account. I mean, if you're done and over with and you're not going to receive any additional medical care, that's fine. But if your injury is such that you're going to continue to need medical care, that has to be accounted for either with insurance or Medicare or what's called a special needs trust if you're financially needy. So there's lots of variables that need to be taken into account in resolving a case and caring for people for the rest of their lives, because, we're done, case closed, but that's not the way it should be. I mean, we have a duty and obligation, and I feel it personally, to take care of people and make sure that they're cared for the rest of their lives, because that's what happens.
Yeah. So do you think that, obviously your passion comes through in your answers in the way that you talk. So do you think it's that drive to take care of the person? Is that what gets you coming back to work? Is that what gets you excited about?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have thousands. We're not the biggest in the universe. Yeah. And when you become the biggest in the universe, you lose track of your relationship with people. Yeah. So we have one office. We're here in Miami-Dade County in Pinecrest and a corner of Kendall and US 1, where we've been for 35 years. Our kids have grown up and gone to school. I've advertised in our schools. We do a scholarship at this high school. We do a scholarship at that high school. I teach here. We're part of business groups within our community. So we are community-based lawyers in our community. We do so many different activities in our community and help so many people, and we really work hard at that. Again, that goes to the reputation that we've got. Same with our staff. I mean, we've had the same office staff for many, many years. It kills me when we lose somebody. So it's good to have the same staff, and our clients love our staff, and it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I mean, I wake up in the morning and I like coming to work. I like coming to work for the people. We have difficult clients and we got good clients, but at the end of the day, my job, my responsibility is to help these people that are in need. I understand that. I appreciate that. And I take it seriously. It's an important aspect of who we are and what we do.
Yeah. All right. So just shifting gears a little bit, Mitch, what do you kind of see as the biggest opportunity for the practice going forward in the future?
If anything, it's going backwards. With our current government and governor and political field that we're seeing here, it keeps becoming more and more difficult. There are rules and regulations that have changed. In March, we had big sweeping litigation changes in the personal injury field, which hurt us and hurt our clients and hurt our abilities. An example of that is we used to have a comparative negligence perspective on a case where if you were 5%, 10%, 20%, 80% at fault, you could still recover. So car accident, A hits B, B hits A, but it's adjudged to be 50-50. Okay, you get your 50 cents on a dollar instead of 100 cents. The law has subsequently changed now so that if you are judged to be 51% or more, not only do you not get your 49%, you get nothing. So they've changed that dramatically. Additionally, the statute of limitations, the time limitation within which to pursue a claim, has changed from 4 years to 2 years. We have an environment now which is, I don't want to say more business friendly or insurance company friendly, but it's making it a little bit more difficult to pursue cases. But good cases get resolved. Good cases we still take. People do wrong and they're going to be held accountable, and that's what we do. Yeah.
So the opportunity's there, but I guess you kind of pointed out maybe the challenges that have arisen, the things that are now more of a challenge.
And you have to, as a lawyer, you have to know, just like in medicine, there's new medicines, there's new therapies, there's new treatments, there's new things that happen, and you're obligated and you need to make sure you're up on it. So likewise with the law, we attend seminars, we lecture, we do, continuing legal education, CLEs, both on a lecturing perspective and an attending perspective. So, we need to be up on those things and know what's going on so that we can continue to represent our clients efficiently.
Okay. So, Mitch, if people want to learn more about the firm or more about you, what's the best way for them to contact you or to reach out?
So we talked at the beginning of the word communication, and that's huge. So mpanter@panterlaw.com is my email. Panterlaw.com is our website. Google us, YouTube us. Just type in Panter Law anywhere. You'll learn all about us. We put out a lot of social media. I've got people that do that. We have a lot of frequently asked questions on our website. We talk to people, me personally and our staff here. So again, panterlaw.com. I'm happy to talk to anybody anytime. And, we've got a network of lawyers. It's called the Panter Sampedro network. So even though we don't in-house do real estate or probate or criminal or wills, things like that, we've got lawyers that we've worked with for the past 30 years that do that we can refer you to, that we trust, that we believe are skilled, competent, and qualified, and we work with them. So whatever your legal question is, give us a call. We're happy to help.
Okay, good. So listen, Mitch, I want to thank you for being a guest today and taking the time to be here with me. This was very insightful, and it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone for listening, watching, and tuning in to the Confident Retirement Podcast, where we're hoping to raise the financial education of everyday people to another level, one show at a time. Thanks, everybody, for listening, tuning in. And Mitch, thanks again.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You've been listening to the Confident Retirement Podcast with Kris and Mark from LPF Advisors. For more information on them and retiring confidently, please visit lpfadvisors.com. If your ears are pleased and your mind is now at ease, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.